First of all, we want to apologize if the media in this video doesn't match up with the script. The InVideo AI application, which is described in the final chapter, does a good job for being a free app, but the media library it draws from is very limited. This video was created in response to a viewer's comment we received in the last video we did on this subject, which is just a YouTube short. We wanted to reply in a timely manner, rather than spend the time to curate better media for this video, which would have significantly delayed our response to the comment. In our last video on this subject, linked in the description, one viewer accused us of spreading misinformation, which we can only assume was regarding Netanyahu's status as a war criminal, and our statement that the missile strike that killed 22 children and 48 adults in Jabaliya, northern Gaza, on May 14, 2025, might have been funded by U.S. taxpayers. Since half of all ammunition and missiles used by the IDF come from the United States, there is a high probability that the weapon used in this specific attack was American-supplied. This article will break down the facts, where Netanyahu is legally considered a war criminal, where he is not, the specific charges against him, why he was not arrested upon leaving Israel to visit the White House earlier this year, and the role of U.S. taxpayer funding in Israel's military actions. If you support fact-based reporting, make sure to subscribe to American Northwest Magazine, click the thumbs up, and help us keep independent journalism alive.
Before we continue, we would like to invite Palestinians around the world, as well as Israelis, to please make comments to further our understanding of the array of perspectives out there of Palestinians and Israelis on this subject. The International Criminal Court, or ICC, issued an arrest warrant for Netanyahu on November 21, 2024. The ICC is recognized by 124 member nations, meaning that in those countries, Netanyahu is legally regarded as a war criminal and could be arrested if he enters their jurisdiction. However, in countries that do not recognize the ICC's authority, such as the United States and Hungary, Netanyahu is not legally considered a war criminal and faces no risk of arrest.
The ICC's charges against Netanyahu are severe and unprecedented for a sitting Israeli prime minister. He is accused of war crimes and crimes against humanity, specifically for starvation as a method of warfare, intentionally directing attacks against civilians, murder, persecution, and other inhumane acts. These charges stem from Israel's military actions in Gaza between October 8, 2023 and May 20, 2024.
Despite the ICC's arrest warrant, Netanyahu was not arrested when he left Israel and visited the White House. This is because the United States does not recognize the ICC's jurisdiction and has rejected the arrest warrant against him. The Biden administration has stated that it fundamentally rejects the ICC's decision and has not cooperated with the tribunal. Additionally, the ICC lacks its own enforcement mechanisms, meaning it relies on member nations to comply with arrest warrants. Since the U.S. is not an ICC member, it is not obligated to enforce the warrant, allowing Netanyahu to travel freely within American borders.
The numbers paint a devastating picture of the humanitarian toll. As of May 2025, 61,709 Palestinians have been killed, including 17,492 children, while the October 7th Hamas attack resulted in 1,139 Israeli deaths. That means for every one Israeli killed, approximately 54 Palestinian civilians have died in the Israeli military response, raising concerns about proportionality in warfare. The sheer scale of destruction has led to widespread condemnation, with critics arguing that Netanyahu's approach far exceeds a reasonable counteroffensive.
On May 14, 2025, Israel launched a series of airstrikes on Jabaliya, northern Gaza, killing at least 70 people, including 22 children. The strikes hit residential areas and the Jabaliya refugee camp, where displaced families had sought shelter. According to reports from the Indonesian hospital in Jabaliya, the attack was devastating, with dozens of wounded civilians overwhelming hospital resources. The European hospital complex was also struck, killing at least 28 people. Israel claimed that Hamas had military infrastructure hidden within civilian zones, including rocket launchers, but eyewitnesses reported that the strikes hit family homes and apartment buildings, not military compounds. The humanitarian crisis in Gaza has been exacerbated by Israel's blockade, which has severely restricted food, water, medical supplies, and electricity. With hospitals crippled by bombings and supply shortages, civilians have been left to die from treatable injuries. Aid convoys attempting to deliver supplies have been blocked or bombed, making survival in Gaza increasingly untenable. Many analysts argue that the weaponization of humanitarian aid, denying civilians the necessities of life, is itself a war crime under international law. Palestinians in Gaza are effectively prisoners, unable to flee due to border restrictions imposed by Israel and Egypt. Since 2007, Israel has maintained a strict blockade, controlling land, air, and sea access, ensuring no Palestinian can leave Gaza freely. The Rafah crossing, Gaza's only border with Egypt, is heavily restricted, meaning even during intense bombings, civilians have nowhere to escape. Neighboring countries refuse to accept Palestinian refugees, further trapping civilians inside an active war zone. The United States plays a significant role in funding Israel's military operations, with approximately 70% of Israel's war costs covered by U.S. taxpayer money. Since October 7, 2023, the U.S. has provided over $22 billion in military aid, with $17.9 billion going directly to Israel's defense budget, and $4.86 billion allocated to U.S. military operations in the region. About half of all ammunition used by the IDF comes from the U.S., including thousands of missiles and bombs. Given that U.S.-funded weapons make up a significant portion of Israeli military operations, there is a high likelihood that the missile used in the May 14th attack was paid for by U.S. taxpayers. However, exact tracking of individual missiles is difficult, as Israel mixes U.S.-funded weapons with domestically produced arms. The U.S. also provides intelligence assistance, including satellite data and targeting support, further enabling Israeli military operations. Defense agreements ensure continued American backing of Israeli warfare through direct military technology transfers. All sources and reports cited in this article are linked in the description, so you can read them yourself and decide where the truth lies. The Israeli military response has far exceeded the casualties from October 7th, with mass civilian deaths, starvation, and infrastructure collapse defining the Gaza crisis. While Israel argues that Hamas uses civilians as human shields, international legal experts question whether the scale of destruction violates war crime statutes. Please continue watching to learn more about the app we used to curate this video. If you found this information important, make sure to subscribe to American Northwest Magazine, hit the thumbs up, and help us continue investigative reporting.
In this chapter, we will explain the limitations and benefits of the free version of the NVIDIA app, as well as the advantages of upgrading. The free version of the NVIDIA app allows you to create and edit videos with basic features, such as adding text, music, and stock footage. However, there are some limitations. For example, you may have limited access to premium stock footage and music tracks, and there may be watermarks on your videos. Upgrading to the premium version unlocks a host of additional features. You get access to a larger library of premium stock footage and music tracks, the ability to export videos in higher resolutions, and the removal of watermarks. Additionally, premium users receive priority customer support and access to advanced editing tools such as color correction, transitions, and special effects. To upgrade, simply go to the Settings menu in the NVIDIA app, select Upgrade to Premium, and follow the on-screen instructions. You can choose from various subscription plans that best suit your needs. Enjoy creating amazing videos with NVIDIA.